When you tap a card at your office door, 3 different things actually happen, even though it seems like the same thing to you. The system first verifies who you really are. Then it decides where you can enter. And finally, it keeps a record of where you went and what you did. These 3 steps are collectively called AA: Authentication, Authorization, and Accounting. It's the most important framework in cybersecurity, the one that underlies every login system, every corporate network, and every cloud service. In today's video, we'll break down these 3 concepts separately with real-world practical examples. This video is for educational and awareness purposes only. All demonstrations shown here have been done in a controlled and approved environment. Please do not use this knowledge for any illegal or unauthorized purposes. AAA Framework is a security model that consists of 3 separate but interconnected processes. Many people confuse authentication and authorization as the same thing, but they answer 2 completely different questions. Authentication answers, "Who are you?" And authorization answers, "What can you do?" And accounting is the 3rd step, which is often overlooked, but is crucial for incident response and forensic investigation. It answers, "What did you do?" Let's take a closer look at each one. Authentication is the process by which a system verifies that a person or device is who they claim to be. Simply put, it is the step of proving your identity. Authentication is based on 3 factors or categories. The first factor is something you know, meaning something you know. This includes a password, PIN code, or the answer to a security question. The second factor is something you have, meaning something you have. This includes a phone that receives an OTP, a hardware security key like a YubiKey or an ID card. The third factor is something you are, meaning something you are. This includes a fingerprint, face recognition, or iris scan. These are called biometric authentication. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you're logging into an old website with just your username and password. This is single-factor authentication, using just one factor, something you know. The problem is, if your password is somehow stolen through phishing, a data breach, or guessing, then a hacker can get straight into your account. There's no stopping you. Now the second example. Multi-factor authentication, MFA for short. Suppose you are logging into your Gmail account. First, you enter your password. This is the first factor, something you know. Then the system sends a code to your phone, which you have to enter. This is the second factor, something you have. Now, even if a hacker only knows your password, he will not be able to get in because he does not have your phone. This one extra layer can reduce the chances of an account being hacked by almost 99%. This is why cybersecurity always says, keep MFA on for any important account. Third example. Biometric authentication. Suppose you unlock your phone with a face scan or enter an office entry gate with a fingerprint scan. Here, something you are is being used. A big advantage of biometrics is that it is much harder to steal or copy than a password. But there is also an important limitation. If your biometric data is ever stolen in some way, you cannot change it like a password because it is part of your body. There are a few practices to keep in mind to ensure strong authentication. 1. Always enable MFA where possible. 2. Use strong and unique passwords, different for each account. 3. Use a password manager so you don't have to remember every password. 4. Where possible, use biometrics or hardware security keys, as these are the most resistant to phishing attacks. The next step after authentication is authorization. It determines which resources, files, or actions you can access once your identity has been verified. Remember one important distinction here. Authentication proves who you are, but authorization determines what you can do. You may have successfully logged in, meaning you are authenticated, but that doesn't mean you can access everything in the system. Let me explain with a practical example. Suppose you work in a large office building. With your card, you can enter the main entrance, your own floor, and the cafeteria. Authentication card scan will be successful in all these places. But with the same card, you cannot enter the server room or the executive floor because you do not have that authorization. Here, your identity is valid, but your permissions are limited. Second example, a company's shared file server. Suppose you are an ordinary employee. After logging in, you can see and read the public documents folder, but you have no access to the HR confidential folder. It will not show up on your screen, or even if it does, it will show an access denied error. Here, an employee in the HR department may be able to both read and write to the HR confidential folder, but may not have access to the company's finance database. Third example, mobile app permissions. When you install a new app, it asks you, do you want to give this app camera access? location access, contact list access. If you only give camera access, but not location access, then the app can take pictures authorized, but not track your location unauthorized. This is also a real-world example of authorization. Now let's look at how authorization is actually designed. Here are a few common models. First, role-based access control, or RBAC for short. Here permissions are granted based on a person's role or title. For example, everyone in the manager role will get the same type of access. Everyone in the employee role will get a different type of access. This is the most commonly used model because it is easy to manage. Second, the principle of least privilege. According to this principle, each person should only be given as much access as is absolutely necessary for their job, no more. This is one of the most important principles of cybersecurity, because even if someone is hacked, the attacker will only get that limited access, not the entire system. Third, attribute-based access control, or ABAC for short. Here, access is determined by a combination of multiple attributes, such as the user's department, time, location, and device type, all taken into account together. I'll spend a little more time on the principle of least privilege, because it plays a key role in real-world security incidents. Suppose a customer support agent at a company has their account hacked through a phishing attack. If that agent only has access to customer support tickets due to compliance with least privilege, then the attacker will only be able to see that limited data. But if that agent were mistakenly given access to the entire customer database or even the financial system, then the attacker could use the same hacked account to steal the entire company's data. This difference shows why designing authorization properly is so important. Third, and often less discussed, part of AAA is accounting. In some places, it is also called auditing or logging. Accounting is the process by which the system keeps records: who did what, when, from where, and by whom. It creates a memory of the system, which can be analyzed later. Let me explain with a practical example. Suppose you withdraw money from your bank account from an ATM. The accounting system records which account, how much money, at what time, from which ATM machine the transaction was made. Now, if ever there is an unusual transaction from your account, the bank can understand exactly what happened, when it happened, and from where it happened. This is the most important tool in fraud investigation. Second example, a company server. Every time someone logs into the server, opens a file, or changes a setting, the system records it in a log file. The username, timestamp, IP address, and what action was taken. If a security incident ever occurs, such as a file being deleted or a setting being changed illegally, SOC analysts can analyze these log files to figure out who did what, when, and what. This is the main function of the SIME tool we talked about in the previous episode, which will be covered in more detail in the next playlist. Third example, a cloud platform, such as AWS. When a team member creates a server, changes a setting, or deletes a file, the cloud platform creates an audit trail of each action. This is especially important because if data is ever leaked due to a misconfiguration, the team can quickly look at this log to figure out exactly when, who, and how the misconfiguration was made. Accounting is used for four main purposes. 1. Incident investigation. In the event of an attack, the logs can be used to understand exactly what happened, how it happened, and where it came from. 2. Accountability. Since every action is recorded, if someone intentionally does something wrong, it can be tracked to their name. It forces people to behave responsibly. 3. Compliance. In many industries, especially banking and healthcare, it is mandatory to retain access logs for a certain period of time by law. 4. Anomaly detection. If an account suddenly logs in at an unusual time or from an unusual location, it is first detected by analyzing the logs, and only then can the security team take quick action. Let's look at a small example. You log into a VPN. Authentication ensures that you are the real user. Authorization determines which files or resources you can access. Accounting keeps track of when you log in, what you access, and when you log out. These three steps work together to keep the system secure. CIA Triad tells what to protect, and the AAA Framework shows how to do it. Authentication and authorization ensure the confidentiality of information, and accounting helps maintain security by logging all activities. This concludes the AA Framework: authentication, authorization, and accounting. I hope that the topic is much clearer to you now. In the next video, we will discuss attack surface. If you like the video, give it a like, and stay tuned with us by subscribing to the channel to get more such cybersecurity content. See you in the next video.